Hi, my name is Rachel. Welcome to my channel, Learning with the Boys. Today I want to talk about summer reading and motivating your child. Hi, welcome. If you're new here, I am a homeschool mom of 4 boys ages 10 to 19, and I want to talk about summer reading and helping with motivating your kids to read. I know there are some that will watch a summer reading video for ideas, and I have a table full of books. So I do have a lot of ideas because my son right now loves to read, and I really don't need a lot of motivation for him, but I want to give you some ideas that I used for my older 3 when they were younger. So right now, the book collection I have is probably more for 4th through 6th grade, but I do want to mention, and I say that, you may have, which I did, I had one that was a late reader, and he was not really reading till 3rd grade, going into 4th. So his books may have not been the same as my 4th graders' books right now are. Now, a lot of these books, my late reader became a strong reader, and he read a lot of these books I'm about to mention to you, but probably more in the 6th, maybe even 7th grade. So I want you to keep that in mind. So I will show you some books that are a little bit on the lower end and then go up from there. But I also want to give you some motivational ideas, and some of these could fall in any category, even when they were younger, because my boys, when they were younger, we always had done the reading summer library program. And they always had the checkoff list and some prizes. They really enjoyed that. And as they got a little bit older, probably about around this age, I started thinking of other motivational ideas. And I will flat out tell you, yes, it was money. But it was more like, if you finish this program, I will put $15 into your savings account. So that's just an idea. Every parent is different and every family is different. Now, some other ideas I want to mention to you, and this idea, my son, who's 10 now, was like, oh, are we going to do that? I guess he was pretty excited about it. But it's more of a visual idea, and it's so simple. It's just some rings, and I did do this one summer with my boys when they were little, and it was just a visual. So every time they would read a book, you could do a book, you could do an hour of reading, you could do 30 minutes of reading. However you want to do it, you would just add a ring to it. And like that. And when they're real little, maybe they could earn 5 rings and get an ice cream. However you want to reward them. But I do feel like for my boys, something a little bit extra than what the library was offering, because it was just a little bag with a plastic toy, which really, when they're like young, like kindergarten, 1st grade, that's probably great. But as they get older, something a little extra is fun, and it makes summer fun, and that's what it's all about. So I want to mention that idea. Also, a lot of times I would look up extra summer reading programs, and there's all kinds of them online that you can find now, or at local other bookstores. I know there are some, and I have not done that in a while, but I did look up this program, and it's really not anything that they would personally receive a reward for, but I liked the idea. This was actually put out by Compass Classroom, and we have used it's a curriculum, and we've used a couple things over the years from them, but I'll show you a picture of it. Oh, and it gives you ideas, like go ahead and read 3 books in a series, or a book about animals, or a book about faith, a story adventure, a classic, a book about math, and there's probably more over here, an option, a book about friendship, a missionary story. So I really liked their options, and it sort of broadens out what your child might usually read and give them some ideas, like let them pick, let them circle, well, this week or these couple days, and let them circle. And you could even take this list to the library and see what you can find there. May not be able to find a book in every section, but I thought this was really good, and I may use it with my 10-year-old this year. All right, let's get to my summer reading book suggestions. Now, I will tell you that maybe not my 10-year-old now, because he's still in that age, 4th, 5th, and 6th. but usually most of these books, one of my boys have read. So that's why I have them. I'm going to start with the books that I have, and then I'm going to start with books from the library that we would get. So I'm going to start with easy, like I said. These are just some really easy reads that we have. They're landmark books, but they say grades 2 and up. So this would be like about Abraham Lincoln, but I will show you the print. But this would have been something that my late reader would have enjoyed because it is bigger print, but it's also giving you the story. You know, they want to know about Abraham Lincoln. They want to know about George Washington or Thomas Jefferson. They well, my boys liked that kind of stuff. They enjoyed history. Okay, another book, and this can be a series. I feel like I have a lot more of these, but I could only find one. And it's The Adventures of Artie Anderson, and they're sort of like Western books. And this would definitely probably be a beginner. The print's a little bit closer. These are put out by Sword of the Lord. So I want to mention those to you. Now, a book that my son read this year, and I've had more from this series, it's called American Adventure. He actually picked this book out at a used bookstore. These books, there is a huge series of them from different eras from history, and this is War Strikes, and I think this had to do with Pearl Harbor. And that is why we picked it up at the used bookstore. But he enjoyed this, and I think he would read another one if it was in an era that he enjoyed learning about. So, okay, these are some books that I have used as read-alouds, but my boys have read them too, because a lot of times they'll pick them up late, a couple years later, and read them. And that's The Sign of the Beaver, The Buffalo Knife. So these are probably like historical fiction. And this is a historical fiction, Shades of Grey. I think most of my boys have read this one. I think all of them except my going into 5th grader now, my 10-year-old. So, and he'll probably read this book. They really liked this one. Okay, and Farmer Boy. I have read this. We have used audiobooks, and I've had some boys read it again later. So this is a really good book. And of course, for girls, the whole Ingalls Wilder series is a great set for girls to read, and I really feel like it's, you know, about that age that they could read it. So, also, this is another read aloud that I always do with my boys about 3rd grade, but I've had one boy, he was like, I don't know, 5th or 6th grade, and he read it again. So I encourage that. You know, if they want to pick up a book and read it again, I think that is great. So, and this one, Carry On, Mr. Bowditch. We have the book and we have the audio, and that's something I want to encourage you. If you do have a struggling reader and you're trying to do summer reading and you want to encourage them to be able to mark off those check marks or however you want to do it to motivate them, maybe you can find the audio and they can follow along. And you don't have to even get a book this thick. I mean, I started with, they have a lot of audios, and you can start with younger books. So I want to encourage that. We did that a lot with some of my boys. So another easy read. Let me try to get some of these easy reads out. Are the What Was and Who Was. So you can get these at the local library. These are ones I actually have. And my boys have really, they almost enjoy the What Was even more so. Okay, another series is Ivan, and this is a historical fiction. It's more in Russia about a 12-year-old boy. And there's a huge series, Ivan, The American Journey, and The Hidden Bible, The Secret Suitcase, The Daring Escape, and Ivan the Informer. And these are all really good, and I think we've read a couple of these, and my boys have read some of them. So some of these books I have mentioned in other videos, but I just want to encourage you, give you ideas for summer reading books too. I know a lot of these books I do own, so keep that in mind, but I have been homeschooling for 14 years now, so I have collected books over the years, and I will tell you, majority of them I have purchased used. And another set that I have purchased used is the Sugar Creek Gang. And my second son, who was a late reader, actually read a lot of these books, and he really enjoyed them. And my 10-year-old now is just starting to read them. He read this one, The $1,000 Fish. This is actually an older book because obviously I bought it used. I think I bought like 5 books new because a lot of them are old, but there is a few that are new, and I think it was like in a set of 4 or 5. So you can get these. I know I bought these at the used bookstore. But these are really good character building books and fun adventure mystery. So boys really like these kind of books. Another set is The Trailblazers, and I have probably purchased a majority of these used, but they are historical fiction also. And you have anything like, they could be historical from like the Mayflower, and they also are stories about missionaries. Like this one's about William and Catherine Booth. So just a variety of those type of books, and I would definitely say that 4th through 6th grade reading would be perfect for these books and understanding. Now, this next set I'm going to show you, I got all these from the library. I used to own a huge set. And for whatever reason, I got rid of them. I think there was an age gap between my one that was reading and the one now, who also is a reader. But they are Dear America. Like this one is a transcontinental railroad worker, but it's usually someone young, and it's like in diary form. And my son, who was a late reader, who ended up loving to read, read as many of these as he could get, the ones we owned and the ones at the library. So this one is dated 1867, Nebraska and points west. Here's one, Freedom's Wings, Corey's Diary, Kentucky to Ohio, 1857. And then there are lots of them about girls. And this one, Dreams in the Golden Country, a diary of Zifra Feldman, a Jewish immigrant girl. I actually read this one. I mean, I remember years ago, I was just curious. When he was into reading these, I read a couple of them. So, and it was really, really good. Here's another set of books. And this is more for fun. And so keep in mind when you especially have boys or maybe a girl that is just not interested in reading, just finding something that's interesting and fun. And really what they're interested in. It could be a cookbook that the child wants to read and learn about. Whatever it may be. But we found these sets of your choice. And they're different, about different wars. Like this is Vietnam, but the Civil War and the Berlin Wall. And what they do is it starts out with a story, and then you get to pick like what you would choose to do next, and then it would take you to the pages that would talk about. So he read some of these this past year, which he was in 4th. But I probably think they would be fine for a 5th and 6th grader. I mean, the reading's easy, but it is, I think it's a little in-depth. So they would be a fun read. Okay, before I get into more library books, I want to mention, this is probably only about half of what I have of these Childhood of Famous Americans. Now, my 4th grader read several of these this year, but I purchased these with my oldest when he was 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. He really became interested and enjoyed reading these, and he's sort of a collector. Like, Mom, I want to collect them all. But that's sort of his personality, but he probably read a majority of them. But even my 4th grader now, I mean, if he just sat down, he could have these read pretty quickly, and I'll show you the inside. So it talks about the famous person's childhood and then goes into what they accomplished or what they're known for. So like Henry Ford, George Washington. This is really what caught my boys' attention when my older boys, when they were younger, like books about Buffalo Bill and Neil Armstrong, Albert Einstein. Here's another one, one of the first ones they read, Daniel Boone. So, and I have a lot more. But I will tell you, I probably got a majority of these in sets off eBay. And this was, how many? 10 years ago, probably. So, of course, another set of books that I have that he just started reading this year, and I have a huge set too of these, Heroes Then and Now, or Heroes of History. They are Christian heroes or they're just heroes in history. And he's read Theodore Roosevelt actually just within this past few weeks ago, and this past school year he read about Douglas MacArthur. And we've done a lot of them as read-alouds, but he is really getting into wanting to read them himself, which I think is great. They are ages, I think these are for ages 8 to 12 is what they advertise. So that is a good series for this age. Okay, a book he is reading right now is Scout's. Now, I don't have the one he's reading, but this is Scout's Distant Journey, and this is just Scout. And they are by, well, this one is by Journey Forth. This one is not. So I'm not sure the difference, but there's different stories. The one he's reading now is different war stories that the dog is involved in, and most boys like dogs. And my oldest read all of these that he could find. So these are really good books for boys. Of course, there's the I Survive series, and you can get these at the library. I don't think we even own any of these. We usually pick them up at the library. I feel like we did own like a book that had a few stories in it, but I'm not even sure where that's at. So he's read some of these a couple times, and my other boys have read them. So I wanted to share those with you. Okay. Another thing I want to share with you, if you have a struggling reader, maybe he can read and he just doesn't want to read. Maybe he just cannot find what he's interested in. That's sort of why I like this form about picking different books, and when you go to the library, they could do that. I think the biggest thing at this age is I've had my boys start a book and they just cannot get into it. Have you ever been there? So I feel like I want to try to be understanding towards that, but also I want to encourage reading. So I do let my boys go in, and I'm showing you books that they have all picked out, even from my oldest. And so when we went to the library last time, these are some of the books he picks out, and he will sit there and open them up and read them. This was his breakfast read the other morning. And sometimes it might just be flipping through and looking at the pictures. But if you have one that's struggling to read, let him pick out books like this that he's interested in and maybe just wants to look at the pictures, because you know what? He's going to want to know what that picture's about, and he's going to read the highlight around it, which may lead him to read more. So I want to encourage you there a lot. There's like tons of these books at the library that my boys pick up and read. Learning about different people in the military and what they do. Learning about the Jets. So I just wanted to share that idea with you. It may be something like this book, which is an Usborne book. He really likes ships, and he would spend some time just reading through it. So I feel like the more your child can just sit down and enjoy the book and read it and realize this is enjoyable, I'm learning something I like to learn about, that he might be more open to reading another book that maybe might be another level about that subject. So I just want to encourage you with those words in the summer reading idea, because that's the whole idea of it, is to be fun. This is another series that he likes that might be for someone that is really not sure if they want to read, and it's You Wouldn't Want To, and then it says like Sail on the Titanic. I think he's read one, he's read some that had to do with World War I and World War II, or Pearl Harbor, and they have all kinds of things, and then just characters and like the different people that would have been on the Titanic in a fun way. So just wanted to share those ideas with you. Okay, those are just a lot of my ideas. Like I said, at least one of my boys have read the books that I've mentioned. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found something that you think might interest to your child, and I hope you all have a fun summer reading time together. So, I appreciate you all watching. If you like this type of content, please subscribe and give this a thumbs up, and I hope you all have a great week. Thank you.